Let's go to Jim in Salt Lake City who has a question about tax reform. Jim, you're on the line with Senator Lee.
Senator Lee, it's good to hear your voice. I appreciate you being our senator as well.
Thank you, Jim.
One of our bureaucracies, I believe, that's most out of control and most insidious is the IRS, and I'm wondering if there is any possibility of getting some major tax reform or complete overhaul of the tax system to take the IRS out of the equation and just have funds collected as need be.
I'd love to see that. It's funny, I have a colleague here in the United States Senate who likes to say that we need to abolish the IRS, and we could do the country a huge favor because we could get rid of all the IRS employees and we could send them down to our southern border and scare away anyone who might be tempted to cross into our borders illegally because they'd be so frightened by the IRS agents. But there is good reason why the American people fear the IRS. Good reason why the IRS is probably even less popular than the influenza virus in the United States. And that is because they have enormous discretion. They have tens of thousands of pages of statutory and regulatory code that they administer and enforce. A lot of this code is obscure. A lot of it requires constant judgment calls by people in the IRS. And so this gives them basically unfettered discretion to mess with you, to mess with your life, to upend your livelihood. And this is wrong. People understand that it's wrong, and people understand that it has to change. One of the problems with this also relates to the size of the code itself. James Madison famously wrote in Federalist Number 62 that it will be of little benefit to the American people if their laws are written by men and women of their own choosing, if those laws are so voluminous and complex that they can't reasonably be understood by those governed by them. Today, we've got a tax code that's tens of thousands of pages long. Not all of it is even written by men and women of the people's own choosing. And so we're in that very place, and that's why we've got to start anew. This is one of the reasons why I've proposed a tax reform package that, at least on the individual side, would dramatically simplify our tax code. It would create two tax rates, just two. It would simplify those rates. The overwhelming majority of Americans would pay under a diminished rate of 15%, subject to two deductions, one for charitable contributions, another for mortgage interest. It would create a new child tax credit to undo the parent tax penalty built into our tax code. It would also eliminate the marriage tax penalty. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think it's wrong for the federal government to punish people for getting married, or to punish people through its tax code for having kids. And that's what my legislation is designed to finish. I'm working on an expanded version of that tax reform plan with my colleague and friend, Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. And this one would expand our tax code simplification onto the corporate income tax side as well. This tax reform package is pro-growth, it's pro-opportunity, and most importantly, it's pro-family. At the end of the day, this is pro-American, and it's what we need to pass.